Welcome to Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, a podcast that showcases people you may not know who are choosing to use their gifts to inspire and move the planet.
Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. I am super excited. My guest, Jeanette Harrison, is here, and she is going to tell you exactly who she is and what it is that she does. So, Jeanette, take it away.
All right, thank you so much for having me today on Straight Out of Savannah. It's been such an honor for me to be here, and I'm excited to be here today, too.
Yes.
I am an author, an educator, and an entrepreneur. And not necessarily in that order, it depends on the day. A lot of days I spend being an entrepreneur. I'm kind of like a one-woman show. I do it all. And so that includes writing my books and publishing them and editing them. I actually had help last time. I had an assistant. She helped me. She did a fantastic job. And so this last book I wrote, it was called Bragging About You. And it's about learning about yourself, self-love, self-discovery, remembering about your own dreams, your own goals, and remembering how awesome you are.
Yes. So what made you decide to write about that?
Well, it was a series of events. And what started it is I was a faculty member for healthcare administration students, so many moons ago. And the students would come to class. I would do these icebreakers in class because the classes were short. So I only had like 5 to 8 weeks to get to know my students, get them to trust me, and get them all to like get along with each other and do well in the class, which is my primary goal, right?
That's a challenge.
Yeah. And they're supposed to be healthcare leaders. That's what they were in that program for, is healthcare administration, to be leaders in healthcare. And I would ask them, tell me something special about yourself. Like I would just ask them to go around the room and say, and a lot of times the students would say, there's nothing special about me, or I'm just like a student, or I'm just this person at the hospital that I work at, or they would say pass. And I was like, whoa, back up the truck. That's not okay. You're going to be a leader. You should be able to tell people, like, self-promote a little bit, brag about you. And so I came up with this little pamphlet that I created for my class. It was called My Brag Book. And that was the very beginnings of bragging about you. And the brag book, it was basically 5 or 10 pages. And it was like, list 5 things you're good at, list 5 skills you have, 5 times you've been recognized, which that one's hard for a lot of people because sometimes, especially when you're a leader, you don't always get recognized by the people around you because you're busy recognizing other people.
Right. Yes.
5 of your accomplishments or 5 things you're proud of. And so that was like how I started that. And I literally printed it out on my home computer on construction paper and cut it up and handed it out to my students. That was how that started.
That is so neat.
Yeah, and they liked it actually. Because it gets you outside of your, outside of your head of what you've been thinking about all day, and starts you thinking about more about yourself and your personal and professional development.
Yes.
And just like writing something on construction paper, sometimes it feels good. Like it reminds you of being a kid again. And
yes.
What you had as a kid, like, I'm so excited about life when you're a kid, and then you get older.
Yes.
I have to get up and go to work today. So that's how the very beginning. And this is a big, long story. I'm sorry. But
no, that's why we're here.
Okay. Well, the next stage, fast forward a few years, and we had just bought our home in Green Valley, Missouri. And I was meditating in my backyard. So I like to meditate, which was really me drinking coffee and watching my dogs play and listening to birds and the wind and the trees, but it's super peaceful. And when I would be done meditating, I would get these like aphorisms and I would write them down. And so that's where the aphorisms in the book came from, was just from my meditating. And so I wrote them down. I read a lot too. So, you know, it came from a lot of different sources. And so I wrote those down in the aphorisms. And then I have my own personal journal. And in my own personal journal, I was going through like my own personal crisis. I actually got divorced in 2020, July 2020, and moved 1,000 miles away here to Idaho. And
we have so much in common.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So it was that was a big undertaking. And excuse me.
How do you feel though? How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I feel like it was the right decision, and I don't have enough good things to say about Idaho. Like I couldn't say one bad word. People here have been so amazing to me, so kind here in the Boise metro. Like there's a saying here in Boise that it's Boise nice. Well, I don't know about nice, but genuine for sure. Like definitely very genuine, kind people all the time. And
nice.
So amazing. Yeah, I've been like, what's going on here? Why are people being so kind to me? I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, that's just, you know, like they really have a sense of fairness and right and wrong and treating people the way they should be treated. So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
the thing is, the fact that you moved and you found community, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And it's like not just like one person, you know, it's several people. I have a woman here who was my neighbor, and she just befriended me right off. You know, she was amazing.
Yeah.
It's really been really nice.
So what made you decide to move to Idaho?
I had family and friends who lived here, and I came for a wedding, a family member's wedding, and I had it kind of in the back of my mind that I might want to move here. And so I was checking the place out when I came out for the wedding, and I liked it then. It's not ugly. It's really beautiful here. So it's not, the Midwest is beautiful too, but in a different way.
Ooh, yeah. I was gonna say I was gonna move to Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, I lived there before.
When I left, I was leaving South Carolina, and I was gonna go to Omaha, Nebraska, because I had gotten a travel contract and I was gonna go. You know, I was divorced, same thing. And yeah, when they said that it was -8, but it felt like -15, I said, that's a deal breaker. No. I said, I was in my 40s. I said, I have never experienced negative degrees, and I'm not going to start in my 40s. I'm not starting my 40s to experience that. No, I was like, I'm a tropical girl. I can't do that.
It does get super cold in Nebraska.
Oh, wow. Woo. I was like, no. Because all I could think was, it was January. I was like, it's probably going to get colder. No.
Yeah.
All right. So when you got to Idaho, it felt like home to you.
Yeah, it did. It was really nice.
That's powerful. So what was the question I was going to ask? So as far as the books, do you have plans to write more books?
I do, because the Bragging About You is part of this larger program that I'm developing with my business. It's called Take Care of You. And I do a lot of walking videos, which a lot of people see me do because I post them online all the time. And so the next book is going to be about walking. So I'm kind of doing the mind, body, spirit thing. So probably the first book is more, I would say, spiritual, like really understanding yourself and what your dreams are and what your goals are and showing gratitude and all that. And then the walking books are body. So that's going to be, the body part. So the mind part,
Nice.
I'm working on that.
Very interesting. Very interesting. What did you do before that?
Before I owned a business, I was a faculty member. And before that, I worked in healthcare for several years, like 16 years. So
Did you say 16?
16, yeah.
You said several years. I'm like, okay, 2, 3, 4.
16.
I love it.
I have a different definition of several.
Yeah. It's okay. It's good. All right. So what is your plans for your business as you expand? Because I can feel expansion happening. So what is the plan for that?
Well, right now we are creating these workshops, the Bragging About You workshops, and it's focusing on burnout. Since so many healthcare workers and educators and even just regular people, they've been experiencing burnout, right? From the pandemic. It's been so awful for people. I call it, they feel like they got the psychological beat down for 2 years. And they need something to lift them back up and remember, like, oh, hey, wait, I'm an awesome person. This isn't what my whole life is about. This has been really hard. And it's hit every area of everyone's life. Like just today, I was watching something on the news about how people are upset about just being able to provide the basics for their family. And
well, people are getting homeless and stuff, like families.
Yeah, they're feeling they're worried about losing their homes, and and then a lot of the assistance programs are ending now too. There are new ones coming in, but some of the other ones that people were relying on are ending, and it's not, at least as far as I know, the new programs aren't being publicized as well as the old programs were. So people are struggling, and they need something to feel good about themselves again.
Yeah.
Like, they really need to feel like, I'm a person of worth and I have value and this isn't forever, it's temporary. And how do I help myself move past this? And then also, we're not a mental health resource. I'm not offering that.
No.
But if I feel like somebody wants that, then we can, tell them, hey, here's a list of providers, or recommend them to go see their provider.
Yes.
But what we are is like personal and professional development.
Yes.
And just helping them, like I said, like find themselves again.
That is so good, because that burnout is serious and it's real, especially with healthcare. I'm noticing it in healthcare, in teaching, in social work.
Yeah, definitely.
In police and law enforcement. It's just crucial. And I'm watching this great resignation, in addition to people dying so young. So many people these days are killing themselves. Young people are killing themselves.
Yeah.
And it's staggering. And even not only that, this is what gets me is I looked on the Google, 54 years old, died, natural causes. 25-year-old died, natural causes. Something is not right about that.
Right.
There's nothing natural about dying that young. And I believe that a lot of that is based on the burnout, and, the people, they just not feeling good about themselves, and all this stuff that we've been going through, and all the ways that they want to keep us divided, and all of that. And people are feeling it, especially people that have mental health challenges. It's like, yeah, because I used to work in a detox mental health place in Arizona, and we used to get the people come through, that wanted to commit suicide and all that. And the wild thing is, after a while, you get to know, who's really feeling like they're suicidal and who just need a place to live, a bed.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, and I noticed that when the pandemic happened,
both are equally sad that somebody needs to go.
It really is that, you got to play like you're, you're going to kill yourself so you can have a place to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But it was remarkable. And I started noticing, because I worked there at the beginning of the pandemic, and I started noticing that as that thing started going on, oh my God, the despair I mean, we had people coming in that were like professors and stuff that were suicidal, you know, and it was just something, you know, just to see. It wasn't like, you know, you looked and you thought, okay, maybe it's just this population, you know, it's the homeless and the ones that are on heroin and all that, fentanyl and all the things that were going on. But it wasn't that. We saw all kinds of people come to, professional people, suicidal, and then really suicidal. You know, so this program, I think, is going to be amazing for those that are in that space.
Yeah, I think a lot of people lost kind of this sense of purpose and like believing in
Yes.
themselves because
Yes.
their work, so many people, their work helps define who they are. And then when
Yes.
you don't have that anymore, or their work doesn't become rewarding to them, like a lot of healthcare professionals, they go into healthcare because they want to help people. And it's such a rewarding career for them. But then when you go to work and you have your patients are yelling and screaming at you and
And cussing you out
yeah,
and calling you names.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really challenging. And so this is, my way of kind of giving back to those people because I'm a public health person, but I wasn't working in the public health space when
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic started. So I started doing these walking videos and came up with this book. I'm like, what can I do to help the people who are doing this hard work? They're saving everybody's lives. And it seems like people forgot that they were doing that every day. And that's what they were doing. So how can we help them, feel better about themselves and keep them in our healthcare space, be in our education and in our communities, because they have a really amazing skill set that they gained from being in COVID and being on the front lines and working with people
Right.
that we need to utilize that. They give
Yes.
so much knowledge and skill and empathy and understanding the human condition.
I'm telling you, and even with the point where you had people working in these places and they weren't letting people come see their people.
I know
People had to go to the hospitals alone. And to me, that is a terrible, terrible case. I tell people all the time, you should never let anybody that you know go to the hospital by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
No, somebody needs to be there because nurses are tired, they're burned out, they don't work, they're working them short, got too much to do. Yeah.
And sometimes we forget nurses and doctors, they're people too, they have feelings and emotions, and sometimes they've had a really long day, and it's,
sometimes they had stuff going on in their life,
right?
That you can shut it off sometimes, but you can't always.
Yeah.
Because I must admit, when I was going through divorce, I just kept to myself because I didn't want to spew anything negative or anything like that. And I just kind of kept to myself. And so people,
I just let it all out. I was like,
right. Well, I was going to say, I didn't want to verbal diarrhea on people, and I knew, I was like, okay. And so a few people knew, like my manager, she called me in the office. She goes, "What's going on with you?" And I was like, "Nothing." No, I went in the office and said, "What did I do now?" And she said, "Nothing." She said, "I want to know what's going on with you." She said, "Because there's something going on with you." And I said, "Well, what did I do to make you think?" She said, "It wasn't that." She said, "I just feel you." And she was one of the best managers that I ever had. And she was like, "I just feel you." And I broke down. I just started bawling. I was like, I'm going through this stuff, but she goes, yeah, she goes, because I noticed, she goes, you don't seem as happy, because I'm always happy, She goes, you don't seem as happy or whatever. And I was like, well, I am happy. I said, but I'm just working through some stuff. I got to navigate some things because I got these children that are, almost grown, but they still eat me out of house and home. But yeah, it's amazing when you can have this type of program like that are on the front lines that are working. Because I know I've talked to a few people. I talked to one girl that was a social worker interview, and they have the same issues.
Yeah.
Too much to do, not enough people. People are leaving that field in droves too, and not enough money.
and they spend all day listening to everybody else's problems.
Oh my God.
I'm like, who's listening to their problems?
Exactly.
And that's what a lot of people in healthcare do. Like, people are saying, well, what did you do? And I said, I listen to people's problems all day. That's what people in healthcare do all day long. And then they go home, and then who's listening to them? And maybe
Yes.
they can get to go home. What are they going to do? Tell the other people that they've been hanging out with at work all day, their problems, and everybody else, they've been listening to everyone else's problems all day. So it's challenging. It's really
Yes, absolutely. So I had a question for you. Tell me something special about you.
This is something I like to tell people, and it's a little weird, but I can write with my toes using a pencil.
Wow.
I was watching that.
How did you get to do that? How did you learn to do that?
I was watching this movie, My Left Foot.
Yes, I remember it.
And he had a disability and he couldn't use his hands. And so he wrote with his foot. And I'm like, I want to see how hard this is. So I picked, and I have pretty flexible toes. So I picked up a pencil and I practiced a lot. It took me a lot. And I can write about like a kindergartner with a pencil with my toes. But I wanted to see, like, understand what that challenge was like for him and how hard it was for him to do that. And so I know how to write with a pencil using my feet.
That is so cool. And just the thought that you thought about that when you saw that movie, because I saw that movie too. I think he didn't have hands or something, arms or something.
Yeah,
I remember that.
He had some kind of disability where he couldn't use.
I remember that because I thought that was so neat, that he could do that. And I actually have seen paint with their toes.
Oh yeah, I have too.
It was on, it might have been TikTok or something. I can't remember now, but yeah, she was painting with their toes. And I was like, wow, that is just so neat. I love stuff like that because it's like, wow, who would even ever thought? Well, she was like him. She had a disability and she had to use her feet to do stuff. But just to actually try that, it's like, wow. Because who would think that? It's like, I don't remember thinking that I want to try that.
Maybe I was really bored.
Right? That's so cool though, even to be able to do that. Because if you ever broke your whatever hand you are, then you could at least write with your foot.
I could. That's true.
I hope
it never happens. But
no, you don't want that to happen. But I did see a story about a guy. He was a was he a football player, a basketball player? I think football. And he got hurt. And so now his arm, he can't use it. It severed his nerve or something, an artery. I can't remember exactly, but he can't use that arm. And he had to learn how he was right-handed, and he had to learn how to write with his left. So I was like, that's, those stories are like so interesting to me, because I'm like, wow, you just never think that. Yeah, but that is so cool that you can write with your toes.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now that is excellent. So where do you see yourself going with your business going forward?
Well, I want to get these workshops launched and then do the mind, body, spirit. So I have the walking thing, which I'm thinking is going to be pretty popular because I'm not a small woman. And so I've kind of inspired some other people who are, I'm not like I think about when I was growing up or when I was young, it was Denise Austin. I'm not a Denise Austin. I'm just a woman out walking and filming myself on my iPhone. And so I think a lot of people feel inspired by that. Like, hey, if this person can do it, I can too.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's kind of, I'm going in that direction. And I think that book will probably be pretty popular. I'm calling it right now.
Yes.
And then, like I said, I'm going to create the mind section, which is basically, enhancing your mind. And for me, that's important too, because I'm a middle-aged woman and I can see I don't feel as sharp as I used to be. Yeah, right. And I know I am, but there are just some days I'm like, I need to really work on my focus and memory. And, as I get older, I started that
too, girl. I got my secret words, and so I
Yeah.
Yep, I started thinking about that too, especially because I work in facilities, so I see that stuff all the time. And and yeah, that's a whole nother topic. We're not gonna go there.
Oh.
So many people, elderly people, and this is the thing that I've seen lately, where I'm at now. I live outside of Seattle.
Oh,
And
okay.
so where I'm at now, I've seen, this is the craziest thing that I've seen is they are like pushing oxycodone on these old people, like Tylenol.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, me too. When I saw it, you know how you start looking and you say, this is a pattern, something is going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, they're trying to kill them because they're living too long and costing them too much. I was like, that is horrible. Because I have the reason I thought about it, I have like a 90-some-year-old resident that they put on like 15 milligrams of oxycodone. I said, something is not right about that. That is not right.
No.
Not right. They didn't used to do that. But all of a sudden, here we are. Here we are. So it's like, okay. But I'm just this thing. I'm just excited about these workshops on burnout.
People really like the burnout and walking and exercise, and both of those help you stay focused and stay sharp.
Yes.
And it's not just for, I don't want to make it sound like it's just for older people, it's for younger people too, because a lot of even young people, I've been reading about the quiet quitting, which I don't really know anybody doing that, but the millennials quiet quitting, or people just feeling overwhelmed or exhausted by life right now, and just like they're not focused or whatever. And like you mentioned, their mental health issues are coming to surface, and a lot of that has to do with focus too. So getting yours back to yourself, that's
right.
Really what this is about, because that's what I needed when I got my divorce and I moved out here. I was by myself, and I'm like, I don't even know who I am anymore.
Exactly.
When I started doing this, I'm like, okay, well, this is funny. This is what I love. This is what I enjoy. This is what I'm grateful for. These are my dreams. These are my goals.
See, and that's the thing. It's like, because that's what I was saying earlier, and I lost my train of thought talking about that. You had younger people. Like, I had somebody in their 50s and in their early 60s in the home. Can't even, some of them not even nowhere in the mind. Young. And I'm like, something's wrong with this. This is just not right. Yeah. And for me, I started really diving in and studying, because I was like, something has to give. I don't know what it is, but I know that I'm here to help it, give, because we have to do this. I mean, we have to get people at a place where they are feeling good about themselves, and they're feeling good just in general, because people just aren't, especially with everything that has been going on. And every time you turn around, there's a new something coming out. And what is it? The monkeypox and the whatever, the Omicron, or there's something always coming. And it's like, oh my God, what is going on here in the world? What are we doing?
Yeah. Well, monkeypox has been around. What they don't tell you is monkeypox has been around for decades, actually.
And I knew that. I knew that because I saw something about it a long time ago. But I was like, is that something that's new? Yeah. Kind of like AIDS.
Yeah.
AIDS was around since like the 50s.
Yeah. And then people started getting it, and they're like, oh, wait, what? AIDS? It's a new thing. No, it's not.
No, it's not new. It was around, yeah. All right. So I am so excited. This has been so freaking amazing. What I want you to do, Jeanette, is let the people know how they can connect with you. Where are the best spaces to connect with you?
The best places to connect with me are on LinkedIn. I think that's how I met you, Tammi.
I think so. I was like, Because I think we went round and round a couple of times trying to get this thing done.
Yeah. So I'm on there as Jeanette Harrison, MPH. And then you can follow my business if you want to learn more about bragging about you and the burnout and things like that, how healthcare works. And it is on, on Twitter, I'm JR Harrison, MPH also. And on Instagram, it's how healthcare works. And on TikTok, I'm on TikTok and Facebook. And then I have a website, www.howhealthcareworks.net.
Sounds like a plan. And all of those details will be in the show notes as well. That we click the links and all that in order to connect with Miss Jeanette, because she is amazing. She is a wealth of knowledge. I have appreciated her being here and sharing. I am so excited for her workshops, burnout. I cannot wait. Even the books too, because I'm like her. I love to read. I got books everywhere.
I bet.
I was gonna say I got a whole bunch on my bed, and my husband would come home and say, "Baby, did you miss me?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Why you ask?" He said, "Because you got all these books on my side."
The books kept me company.
Yeah, I was like, they kept me company. I laugh. I said, "You got books everywhere," and then I have Audible books, 50,000 of them on there. It seems like, and every time I look up, I say, "Oh, I'm gonna get this one." When I get the credit, I'm like, "I'm gonna get this one," and I get that one. Still got all these other ones to listen to.
Like me, yep. I have the same thing. I have a list of books to listen to.
Yes, I mean that, and then also, there's books on YouTube.
Oh no, I did not know there were books on
Yes.
YouTube. Oh my.
Yes, lots of them. You can go on YouTube and listen to almost anything. So yeah. Oh, so super excited. This has been a blast. I've enjoyed this show, and Miss Jeanette is just, I love her.
So much, I appreciate it.
Yeah. It's been so amazing. But yeah, so we are going to call it done, this one, and make sure that you are joining us on Straight Out of Savannah, anywhere that you can listen to it. It'll be on Anchor, it's on Spotify, it's on Amazon Music, it's on iHeartRadio, it's on Listen Now, Radio Breaker, Google, Apple, all over. All these places you can listen to it. So super excited about that. And wherever you're listening to it, make sure that you subscribe to wherever it is. Also, it'll be on YouTube as well. It's going to premiere on YouTube on the 8th of October. It'll premiere on YouTube as well as mupoentertainment.com. So, and I'll share all of that stuff in the details. Miss Jeanette, any last words for our viewers?
Just take care of yourselves. Make sure you give yourself a hug if you feel like you need one. And
yes, that's awesome.
Remember, you're awesome every day.
Yes.
Remember Stuart Smiley, how he'd look in the mirror and say how amazing he is, but you're amazing.
Yes, I love it. I love it. That is so amazing. So thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. Bye now.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Bye-bye.
You are so welcome.
I know you've been blown away with the amazing value here today. Now go out and inspire the planet. And be sure to send us a message when you're ready to come talk about it on Straight Out of Savannah. Talking with Tammi.